Hello everyone, welcome to Desert Succulent. Today we're gonna be featuring Corpuscularia Lehmannii, or commonly known as the ice plant. Itong succulent na to is a native of Africa and it's one of those unique looking succulent that you can have in your collection. Once it reaches maturity, you would be expecting na yung kanyang height would be about 12 inches and it could even spread around up to 12 inches as well. It has this very impressive color of blue-green, and even if now we will be stressing this kind of succulent, still this would be its color. Yung kanyang leaves are very thick, and if we will be pressing or compressing it with our fingers, matigas siyang hawakan. It's not really that soft. It's not really covered with any white powder or yung ating farina, kaya it's okay for us to keep on doing this one. And what's interesting about sa kanyang leaves is that pag tumutubo siya sa kanyang stems, usually in pairs silang tumutubo. So for example, here sa stem na to, we have pairs of leaves na tumubo sa kanyang stem. So kumbaga opposite sila. Then yung new growth would not be this way, but it would be this way. So kumbaga alternate siya. And let's try to look for another stem. Ayan. So this one is pag ganyan siya. Then yung next na tubo ng kanyang leaves would be this way. Then you would be expecting na pag nagkaroon tayo ng new offsets doon or new leaves doon, it would be this way again. So ganon yung pattern ng kanyang growth. Our ice plant would also be giving us yellow flowers when it blooms. Ganito yung kanyang itsura when it's just about to bloom. You can already see yung yellow flower doon sa pinaka gitna, and this is how it would look like after niyang mag-bloom. So definitely magdadry lang siya and it will turn like this. I have noticed na pag nag-bloom sila, it will just take you a few days, probably a week, before it eventually dies. So kumbaga, you won't really enjoy yung kanyang flower blooms that long. Some people say that these kind of succulent enjoy yung ating full sun, but I have noticed if you will constantly expose it to the sun all day long, or for example 6 to 8 hours a day, you would end up having these kind of kulubot na leaves sa kanya. Even if na well hydrated yung ating ice plant, if we will be exposing it the next day to full sun, you would be expecting na sa hapon or at the end of the day, magkakaroon talaga siya ng kulubot na ganyan. So I would suggest na if we're gonna be having this kind of succulent, put it in an area na talagang protected siya against the full sun, probably a bright shaded area would be best sa kanya. That kind of tip also applies for the variegated ice plants since they are just typically the same. If you will be putting this indoors, you would be expecting it to ethiolate or magiging leggy siya, hahaba itong kanyang mga stems. Although if ilagay natin siya outdoors or indoors, still we cannot really see the big difference because the color would always remain the same. Moreover, yung ating ice plant prefers a warm environment. It doesn't mean na yung pangalan niya is ice plant is that prefer niya nga yung mga cold temperatures, kasi in fact, it's the other way around. They prefer nga yung ating mga warm temperatures. They would appreciate it more if we will be growing them in a temperature of 18 to 25 degrees. Watering this kind of succulent is a bit tricky kasi even if now we keep on watering it, still hindi talaga maiwasan completely na magkaroon nga siya ng pagkakulubot sa kanyang leaves. Look at this one. Yung kanyang soil is soaking wet. I have watered this for the past 2 days. Consecutive ko talaga siyang sinoke and dry method, but still, some of its leaves, especially yung mga bottom parts, are still ganyan. Even if na some of its leaves are parang dehydrated or kulubot, I still prefer not to water it anymore kasi the problem now is yung ating overwatering na. Pag may nakita kayong mga cracks sa leaves na inyong mga ice plants or succulents in general, it means that you are overwatering them. Each leaf now stores water sa loob, and if we keep on watering them, the tendency is that they will crack open kasi nga nasobrahan na tayo sa pagdidilig sa kanya. And what we can do is to stop overwatering them. Yung kanyang watering schedule would now depend on how much sun exposure it receives. If talagang naka-full sun siya, then you can water it every 2 days or every 3 days. Pero pag for example, naka-bright shaded area lang siya, you can do it every week or every 2 weeks. In my case, naka-bright shaded area naman na ito. I won't be watering this not unless na mag-completely dry na nga itong ating top layer ng soil. Further soil requirements, we should be using a succulent mix that dries out faster in between waterings as compared to a regular potting mix. We have to remember na if yung ating ice plant would stay in a wet soil for a long period of time, then it has the same effect as watering our ice plant frequently or every day. Our ice plant will die because of root rot. This succulent can be propagated through seeds or stem cuttings. I haven't tried any leaf propagation sa kanya before, kaya I'm not so sure if the success rate ng leaf propagation would be great. But every time I do propagate yung aking ice plants, I prefer yung ating stem cuttings. All you need to do is try to look for a stem that you wanted to cut. And yes, I wanted to try this one. You have the choice if gusto nyo mas mahaba, then you can cut it here. Or if a little bit shorter, then you can start with this. Ayan, so we have that one. You can air dry this before potting. Although itong ating mga ice plants, mabilis magkalos over yung kanilang wound dito or kung saan tayo nag-cut. Probably after 1 day or 2 days lang, pwede na natin sila ulit na itanim. Ayan, so this is our propagated na ice plants. For its maintenance, we can remove some of its dried leaves. Ganito ang itsura ng kanyang dried leaves. Ayan, it's parang brownish in color. We can also check for some mealybugs or any fungal infections na meron siya and we have to treat it right away. Lastly, this kind of succulent is not considered toxic, so it's very safe for us to grow this kind of succulent around our pets. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You may also visit our Facebook page at Desert Succulent PH.